Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm going to talk about the Army PT test. I can tell you a little bit about how I got started in Army PT, basic training, what I got taught, and what I did at the unit. And then when I went back into the Army, what I did the second time. So when I went to basic training, we had a pretty strict regimen about what we did, the calisthenics and everything. We ran probably 3 or 4 times a week and did push-ups probably 3 times a week and leg lifts every day. Buddy assisted sit-ups probably every few days, maybe something like that, maybe once a week. We got taught that your body didn't start to grow, didn't start to change until you had already reached muscle fatigue. That until you got into muscle fatigue, you were just spinning your wheels. So what we would do was push up ladders and stuff, just to get totally fatigued. So when I got to my unit, what we would do was run 4 times a week, road march with our heavy stuff. I was a heavy weapons machine gunner, so we road march with heavies. It's about 115 pounds or something with my ruck and my battle rattle. Very heavy, very hard on your joints, your knees, your back, stuff like that. But in the PT test, or for PT, what we would do was we did a lot of ladders. We did a lot of short sets, bursts. So you do 10 hard, 5 hard, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or go from 1 rep up to 20 and back down, stuff like that. Now, if you look at the PT test itself, what's the event? The event is a 2-minute timed exercise. And now every time you train to do anything else, you're training your body to do anything but the PT test. I know people that what they do is they do one big full 2-minute set in training. I've seen that done before. Don't think it works very well, and I don't think ladders work very well. But I will tell you what does work. And I could go on forever about the different types. Like I've already talked in other videos about how training for size, bodybuilding, is not training for performance. I've already talked about that. So if you want to train for performance as an Olympic weightlifter, you capitalize on the rest cycle. You have to maximize the rest cycle. If you don't, if you just want to train for body size, if you want to train for aesthetics, then you don't need to observe the rest cycle the same way. Now, to train for the Army PT test, this is a fitness, this is a work and output graded event. So we don't care what you look like. All we're grading is your output. So with that in mind, you have to capitalize on the rest cycle. When I went back into the Army, I had a really close friend, not super close, but a good friend, Rob, explained to me that when I went back into the Army the second time, I had a good friend, Rob, told me how to do the PT test training. The run, the sit-ups, and the push-ups. Now, for me, the only thing that I ever needed work on was push-ups and sit-ups. The run for me, because of my body type, was always very easy to max. I'm talking about maxing. I'm not talking about completion. I'm talking about the maximum level that the Army recognized as the, ability. So what Rob said was, Jesse, you've always done too much. You always got told until you get into muscle failure, you're not scratching the surface. Don't mess around. Just always get right into muscle failure. Do it several times a week and blah, blah, blah. For this exercise, to be able to capitalize on output, you have to observe a rest cycle. So what you do is, so you have to take the full 48 hours off. So if you train on Monday, you don't do push-ups again until Wednesday. That's 48 hours. And you don't do it again until Friday. So 3 times a week, or Saturday, 3 times a week with a couple days in between maybe, you're going to do for push-ups and sit-ups, not the run, but for push-ups and sit-ups, you're going to train 3 sets only. But Jesse, you can't only do 3 sets and still max your PT test. There's just no way, right? Unless you're doing huge sets. No, it's so much easier. I've told so many people in the Army how to max the PT test, and they don't do it because they don't believe me, because it's just too easy. They've just been told. They cannot convince themselves of the concept because they don't understand the concept of the rest cycle. In this event, if you watch people who are really good at the PT test, they can do a lot of push-ups in a row without stopping. So what did we talk about earlier? All those short sets that we were doing a set of 1, a set of 2, a set of 3, a set of 4, and then working all the way back down from 20, right? Tiny, short little sets, short little bursts of energy. That's the opposite of what you want for the PT test. You need to have a long burst of energy. If you can do 20 push-ups, you're plenty strong. If you can do 20 push-ups, you can max your PT test. If you can do 20, you could do 80. Don't you see that? It's about endurance. What you need to be able to do is a set of 50, followed by a couple of short, deep breaths to really slow your heart rate down. In push-up position with your back arched or sagging in the middle, and then get back to perfect form and do another set of 30. And then you max your test. You did 80. Guys that can max their PT test can usually do 50 or 60 in a row without stopping. It's easy. Easy. If you train it right. Here's how you train it. First set. Short warm-up, okay, nothing crazy, short warm-up. First set, 50 reps, 50 perfect form repetitions, fast and hard. The minute you start slowing down from 1, 2, 3, 4, you stop. As soon as it's slowing down the tempo, 1, 2, 28, 29, 45, 46, 47, 48, stop. As soon as it starts to get slow, you stop. And then you do your sit-up set. You're going to do 60, hard and fast. And the second you start to really slow down, 49. You go back down, 50. Stop. You're done. Stop. Don't rest. Go hard and fast. Do not rest. As soon as you really start to slow down, whatever that number is, whether it's 50, 40, 30, just stop. Take a minute off, do back to the push-ups. And if you did 50 the first time, you're shooting for 40 the second time. And then 30 the third time, with just a few minutes in between. I always do supersets. I always do push-ups, then sit-ups, then back to push-ups, then sit-ups, then back to push-ups, then sit-ups, and I'm done. 3 sets, no más. No más. 3, hard, fast, 50, 40, 30. You do that for a month, you'll max your PT test. There's no way about it. No, absolutely no question about it. The first time I tried that, I had been doing 200 push-ups a day for 6 months. I started that workout where I was going to only do, that's like 120 push-ups. is not very many push-ups. You're gonna do whatever, because there's variation, you know. You might do a few less, you might do a couple more, but you're gonna do hard, fast, clean push-ups. 3 huge sets, 50, 40, 30, 40, 30, 25, 27, something like that. 3 big sets, and then totally stop, observe the rest cycle. You could do pull-ups, you could do other stuff, but just don't touch the tris or the chest. And then sit-ups are the same way. You got to throw yourself back down hard. It's really hard on your back. It's terrible exercise. Don't do them except for the PT test. Look at my other videos. Keep your back flat on the floor if you want to do anything other than the Army PT test. As far as running, the run is not fast. Dude, you got like 12 minutes to max your test. That's a long time. That is not fast. That's 2 6-minute miles. That is not fast. You can run so much faster than what you need to be able to do the PT test in. I guarantee your problem is endurance. You don't run long enough. If you want to max the PT test, there's a bird over here making funny noises at me. If you want to max the PT test, what you have to do is you have to run 30 minutes, period. Not a lot more. Not a whole lot more, honestly. Don't need to run much longer. But you need to run for about a half hour. Less than 20 minutes is for training. Less than 20 minutes, probably not enough. You need to be able to run 8-minute miles back to back to back to back. You need to be able to run 7-minute miles back to back to back. You know, and the only way you're going to get there is spending a lot of time on your legs, just doing it. So for the PT test event, remember, we're training for output. We're not training for volume, or we're not training for size. We're training for endurance. What a lot of people do when they go do the run is they just do that. They get up and they go do the run. They haven't done push-ups and they haven't done sit-ups. Let me tell you what else they haven't done. They haven't exerted themselves in these huge muscles up here, in here, and their hip flexors down here. When you exert those muscles, you have the VO2 calculator to take into effect, which I've talked about just briefly in one of my previous videos. When you go to muscle failure, those big muscles are just sucking oxygen. They're just pulling oxygen in obscene amounts out of your bloodstream. So, if you're looking to max the run and it's difficult for you, you need to do less push-ups and less sit-ups if you want to be able to max your run. So, if you can max your push-ups and your sit-ups, but you have a hard time in the run, do the max and then stop. Don't go into the extended scale. Because the more you can save in your chest, those muscles won't be demanding that same oxygen, as much oxygen out of your bloodstream when you're doing the run, because you don't have enough time to fully recover those muscles. Those muscle groups are going to be demanding oxygen for hours after that event. Especially within the first hour, which is why I say, for the fat guy on the treadmill who does 5 miles every single day, but he's still fat, why is he doing that? Because his body has become adapted to doing that one event, and that's why I said you have to mix it up. This is already a 14-minute video. The short of it is, you do those 3 big sets, push-ups and sit-ups, and then you go run immediately after. You have to run while your chest is all beat up, while your hip flexors and legs are all just gassed. That's when you go and run. If you can run like that, then you can run well on the PT test. And it's not about running fast, it's about endurance. It's about disciplining yourself through the miles, discipline yourself for the first quarter, the second quarter, the last 2 quarters. Discipline yourself. Look at your watch. Maintain your time. Maintain a pace. That's how you max the run.